Hey you guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am Wolfmikeyy, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a cooking video today. This is just something that is a recipe that I've been making for a minute, that I really enjoy, that I just want to share with you guys. Today's recipe is going to be macaroni and cheese stuffed chicken wings. It's just a little bit time consuming and a little bit difficult if you don't know what you're doing. So, with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. And first off, we're going to start by making the mac and cheese. This is Cracker Barrel sharp white cheddar mac and cheese. So, I have the pot set up. I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. Alright, so I got my water here. It's coming to a boil. It's almost there. But this is the mac and cheese that I use. This is by far my favorite mac and cheese, the Cracker Barrel macaroni and cheese sharp white cheddar. Favorite. It feeds, I believe, 4 people. So I mean, you can eat on this for a couple days. It's very good, and it's a lot. It was like $7-8 at our local market, but I'm gonna go ahead and dump it in while this water is getting a boil. So what I'm gonna do, take out the cheese packet, of course, and I'm just gonna go ahead and dump all the noodles in and let them go ahead and start getting boiled. Alright. Once these noodles are in, I'm going to keep this water on high until it actually starts getting boiled again. Once it starts boiling again, then I'll knock it down to about medium or low heat, depending on how it's looking, how I'm feeling at that moment. But this is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not going to make you sit here and just watch water boil. So we'll cut to whenever it's done. Alright, macaroni is about done. The noodles, should I say, been boiling for about 12-14 minutes. It's about time I put them over there in the colander, and we're gonna drain this water out. So let's go ahead and do that. Colander right there. We're gonna dump this noodles in there. There we go. There we go. A little bit of straggler. That's why you gotta mix them up. Make sure they don't stick to the bottom. I didn't do too well of a good job. I've been a bit distracted, but they're good enough for now. Look at there. And for these noodles, there is no need to rinse them. No need to cold shock them with some water. They all good to go. Take these noodles, we're gonna drop them right back in. And for the next step, we're gonna get our cheese. Cracker Barrel white cheddar cheese. We're gonna do it just like this. Cut that top off. We're gonna take this cheese. We're just gonna squirt it all in. Then we're gonna take our magic spoon. Make sure it gets all melted and gooey. We're gonna put this on 1, just low enough to keep it some heat. We don't want it to get cold. We want this cheese to get good and melted and spreaded. Get that cheese good and melted in there. Next up, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. My doctor told me I shouldn't be eating this much salt, but if I listened to my doctor, I wouldn't be going to nearly as much as I do. There we go, a little bit of salt. And then we're gonna add just a little bit of Italian seasoning. This is what I like, this great value. We broke around here just a little bit, just enough. Add this on in and get it good mixed. Now it's time for the secret ingredient. And now I know what you're thinking. A secret ingredient? What's a secret ingredient? Well, the secret ingredient to white cheddar mac and cheese is a block of white cheddar cheese. Yes, sir. This is what I do. I like to add a little bit of fresh white cheddar cheese to it, just to add a little bit more cheesy flavor. We're just gonna grate it on there. And this is a good reason why I like to keep it on a 1 heat, because when you add this cheese to it, it's just gonna sit on top, but you need that heat to make sure it gets good and melted. We're just gonna make sure this cheese gets melted in with the other cheese. So mac and cheese is done. We're gonna take it out of here. I got a special container for it. We're gonna put it in that container and we're gonna clean this pot, and I'm gonna fill it up with grease for the wings. We'll catch you when we do that. So the best wings for these are the full wing. I bought these when I went to the store. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that very top part off, right there with the cartilage. You're gonna get a little bit of meat. You can save that and fry those, have little fried cartilage slash meat. But that's the very first thing you're gonna wanna do. I apologize for the lighting issue. This was from another wing I did because my camera died, so I did another one. But the next part you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take your knife and you're gonna wanna keep cutting at the meat that is connected to the bone. You wanna get as close to the bone as you can. Now, you gotta be careful because knives are sharp, and while you're cutting it, you're also gonna wanna grab as much skin and meat as you can and pull it down. It's gonna feel weird, like a wet sock, but you're just gonna wanna keep doing that until you can get it all the way down to the cartilage where the drum and the flapper meet. And as you can see, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. This is time consuming, and you're gonna wanna try to get as much meat off of that bone as you can. You wanna save that meat to have meat in the wing with the mac and cheese. So one of the things I do, as you see, I take the knife and I just run it down the bone to make sure there's no meat connected to the bone, and then I just keep grabbing it and pulling it down, and it's gonna feel like an inside out wet sock. If you step in a puddle outside, your sock gets wet, you take it off, and when you take it off it goes inside out. That's pretty much how it feels. So you're just gonna work it all the way down till you get to that cartilage. So when you get down to the end of it, that drum is going to be connected to the flapper by the cartilage. So the way to break that is you're going to want to take it in both hands and you're going to want to bend it. Now you have to be extremely careful, as I'm doing here. I'm not moving it a whole lot, but you have to apply enough pressure to break that cartilage and pull that drum off. Now it's very important that you're careful because you don't want to pull it too hard, have that bone break off and rip the skin, because if that skin's ripped, that mac and cheese will not be able to stay inside. It will come out and it'll get all hard. And then once you get past that cartilage, which to be honest, it is a little bit difficult to get through it, you're gonna go down to the flapper, and as you can see, it's basically the same process, except in my opinion, it's a little bit easier with the flapper. I feel like the meat doesn't connect to the bone as well. It's a little bit easier to get it off, but it's just the same process of just pulling that meat and skin down without trying to put any tears or rip in the skin. And as you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing the same thing. I'm breaking the bones off right there at the cartilage of the tail piece end, so that way you're able to actually pull those bones out. So as you can see here, this is me pulling the last bone out, making sure to keep all the meat and skin on the inside. And what I'm doing now is I'm gonna grab the tail piece and I'm just gonna use it to help me pull all the skin and meat back to the correct way it's supposed to be. And as you can see, I didn't take the bone out of the tail piece. I leave it in because it helps when you're holding it. It's almost like a little handle when you're eating it. You know, it is possible to pull it out, however, I just don't do that just because it's a lot easier to not. So once you're all done with your wings, you're going to want to grab your mac and cheese and a cup. I use a cup because it's just easier for me. And basically what you're going to want to do is put some of that mac and cheese in that cup, because you're going to want to put it in the microwave to heat that mac and cheese up so it's easier to put inside of the chicken. And you also don't want to directly go from touching raw chicken to your main source of mac and cheese. You don't want to contaminate it with any of the raw chicken. So this is just an easier way that I have found that helps me. And once the mac and cheese is heated up, I usually go for about 45 seconds in the microwave. This is the part where you're going to be putting the mac and cheese inside of the wing. So what I do is I just grab a couple pieces, 3 to 5, and you're going to want to put it inside and try to push it all the way down to the bottom of the drum as easily and as soft as you can, because you don't want to rip any of the skin. And And you're just going to keep doing that until you get pretty close to the top filled. Now you don't want to go all the way to the top. And the reason is, as you can see, there's that little flap at the top left over. What you're going to want to do is take that and fold it over. And with that fold, that's how we're going to close the mac and cheese wing, so none of the macaroni and cheese comes out while you're frying it. And what I'm using to hold it in place for this specific wing, I'm using some bamboo skewers. I bought these at our local store. However, another wing I used toothpicks, and then I had another wing in which I had saved some of the bones from the wings and used the bones. Now you can do either method. The bone method is probably the most difficult. However, the skewers are the easiest, except for the fact that the skewer is just way too long to try to put inside of the wing and then try to put inside of the pot while I'm frying. So you're gonna have to cut the skewers down a little bit to make sure they fit. And as you can see, the wings are ready to be fried. That very bottom one in the middle, I used toothpicks, and that one right by my thumb, you can see that bone sticking out. That's the one that I used bones for. However, the rest were used skewers that I eventually had to chop down to make sure they fit. Once they're all skewered, you're going to want to put your pot on with your grease, get it warmed up. And now, admittedly, I didn't put any batter on them. Usually I'll put in a mix of breadcrumbs, flour, and some Hooters batter. However, I honestly just didn't have enough time, so I didn't do that. So when the oil's getting hot, you can put your wing in. And you're just going to let it cook until it gets that good and brown skin. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is it's been in for a minute, so I'm letting some of that oil drain out of it. And I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to put it on top of this grate. I have this grate on top of a pan, just so that way it doesn't sit in the oil. You don't want that oil to just be, too much, because it'll get that nice crispy skin soggy way faster. And as you can see, it's got a good brown skin on it. Next time, I definitely will be using batter, but these were amazing. So as you can see, I got all my wings done. I got a couple of pieces that were left over of meat and skin that I just went ahead and threw in. There's a couple of chicken bits. Why not? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut one open and show you how it looks on the inside. So I got my wing here, and I'm just using a butter knife to get it cut. Nothing too sharp. But I'm just going to slice through the middle right about there. And oh yeah, look at that. As you can see, that macaroni and cheese stayed inside perfect. And these were amazing to eat. They were a little time consuming, but 100% worth it in the end. And I'm just gonna go ahead and try one. See, why I leave the flapper on? It's like a little handle. It's like a diabetic lollipop. But I'm gonna take a bite, see how it is. Fantastic. Amazing. It's hard to describe it. It's easy, but it's hard. When you think of a chicken wing that's been fried with macaroni inside, that is exactly how it is. And with the skewers, they fold it up perfectly and close it tight so that grease doesn't get in. So the macaroni and cheese is still like regular mac and cheese. The grease doesn't hit it, it doesn't harden up, so it's still moist and cheesy. 10 out of 10. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. Oh, let's try one of the pieces of meat. That's good. That's good too. So, let me do this. So with that being said, I hope you like this video. It's a little bit different. It's a cooking video. I never made a cooking video before. But if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If the video does good, I'll do something else. I cook all the time. I just make random things. I can do another recipe. So either way, thanks for watching the video.